Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Furtime Talktime interview series, where we are interviewing multiple content creators in the furry community, or just content creation in general. So I think we're just gonna, without further ado, we're just gonna dive right in. If you're wondering who my next guest here, this right here is TempestVRC. And so I think I'm just gonna throw over the introductions over to you. So just tell the viewers a little bit about what you do. Just introduce yourself.
All right. As Vanetta mentioned, my name is Tempest, or better known on Twitch as TempestVRC. I am a Twitch content creator, just a general mischief maker on the internet. I do normally 90% VR content, if that's doing things in VR chats or even Beat Saber or any potential VR content that comes along the way. And then also I do variety streams, that being VTuber with like some classic games, some collaboration with friends and community members, and just having fun along the way. That's normally what I go about. Like literally is having about a grand old time on my channels. That's literally my motto. Fun and mischief never ends, especially with awesome people around. Like Vendetta here.
Exactly. So wonderful introductions, Tempest. So I guess with the introductions out of the way, let's dive right into it. So, Tempest, my first question for you is, what got you into the furry fandom?
What got me into the furry fandom? Well, to keep it short and sweet, not to go too deep into it, I've always been, fascinated by anthropomorphic characters, animals that can talk, or you have, human characteristics. For me, I think it's because this is going to be the classic of them all. My parents bought me Lion King as a kid. That was the very first thing that maybe influenced me. And there were a bunch of cartoons in the older days, like literally Road Rovers, Street Sharks, and stuff like that. It also kind of played into a role, and more I dwell into it. But again, I only came across the fandom in the mid 2010s. Like literally in year 2010, I only came across the furry fandom. I never even knew about the term furries in the first place. I only knew there were characters, or like I said, anthropomorphic characters with human traits that literally caught my eye, more interested than general cartoon characters and stuff like that. And like I said, it was in 2010 where I came across the term, and being the internet being it is, and me being the curious little shite that I am, it just blew up in my face. Literally, the fursuits, the arts, and everything. And that's how I spiraled further down the rabbit hole in one sense. And because of that, it also made me ending up in a wonderful community and fandom that is so accepting in one sense, and also where I actually met the local community in one sense. So that actually, how can I put it, had a more positive effect on my life. So literally, that's the short version of it.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, the introduction into the furry fandom was back in 2020 in August, when I came across Mini Kane's videos. I think I did know what a furry was before I saw Mini Kane's videos, but I never looked into it too deeply. But until I saw those videos, and then I looked more into it, and I was like, hey, this is kind of cool.
Minikin, you're seriously telling me you came across the fandom through Minikin? Like, no offense against the guy, he's an awesome guy. I actually know one of his editors personally and all that kind of stuff. But as you see, as a Nadachi, and you should know, me being a Nadachi as well, you came across a very interesting way into the fandom, I would say. I'm saying in a bad way, it was his
YouTube videos. It was his VR Omegle videos that I came across that got me into it.
The Omegle videos. Yes, the classic Omegle videos that is the current trap for more, how can I put it, more younger generation furries in this fandom. Like, let's see, if it's not Minikin, people even like Aki and Ryu doing, for example, the Omegle videos. So that is like one of the biggest things these days that gets a lot of people also to the fandom, especially in this day and age of, virtual reality content for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, let's move on. Okay, so my next question for you is, why did you start streaming?
Well, to keep the story also not too long, I actually used to do YouTube back in the day. I actually even attempted streaming on YouTube when I was not doing just video editing and all that kind of stuff. But kind of didn't work out, and it paused a few years. But then, the pandemic hit, and one of my good friends that is also a streamer and all that stuff, Pseudo, if you probably know them, she actually invited me a couple of times onto her streams with all the shenanigans that she does. Because she also, did content creating with me, and then she encouraged me, why not try streaming on Twitch? I did once, but it didn't work out. But then again, this is the day and age where streaming has developed in such a way that, there are more possibilities. So Pseudo encouraged me. Then I did a few videos on Twitch, but then it was mostly me just being in VR chat, going into public lobbies, especially like Murder 4 maps, and just causing mischief and shenanigans. I never really had a guideline where I was going with my streams. I was just jumping on and just, causing mischief. Then I met Key and Ryu during our online convention here in South Africa, Perseverance, that is almost similar to Virality in one sense. And I got kind of inspired by Ryu and Aki and Gigi with what they've done for, the Haven and their community, the positivity and the vibes that they bring to people, to their streams and stuff. And that kind of inspired me to do something similar. And that's actually where it started kicking off for me. Again, I didn't really plan on any of this. This literally just basically came natural. I think if I can throw a bit of, word of advice to your viewers, for anybody that is considering ever streaming, stream something that you feel comfortable with. It will come naturally what you're comfortable with, and it's not just because of, stream something that you enjoy if it's your favorite game. I mean, it has to be something that you're comfortable with at the end of the day, that you actually can bring not only positivity and, smiles to your viewers, but to yourself as well at the end of the day. So that's why I do streaming these days, because it literally brings joy to me just as it brings joy to others.
Alright, Tempest, so my next question, it might be, in my opinion, one of the deepest questions I've ever asked anyone. And that question is, what's the best memory that you've had during streaming?
Best memory during streaming? Jeez. There are actually quite a lot. But there was one in particular. It's a very old one. I think the clip is somewhere lingering in my Twitch archives. It was the first time when I started opening up again to people, because short story, before the pandemic, I was going through a bit of a very rough scenario with a lot of things where my trust was broken and my trust was manipulated. So I was excluding myself for quite a while from people and socializing or opening up with people. When I started streaming and, starting to interact more with people and getting to know people and also, making friends again, there was literally one day during stream where literally emotions just spread out so wildly, and I just literally just opened up and just spoke from the heart, telling, how, everyone has been so positive towards me, and, it has literally been like a breath of fresh air. Like literally, I started opening up again. I started being, how can I put it? It's like telling people how I'm feeling. The fact that I told them, you guys have been the best thing that's been happening to me. And this was even when I was still a small streamer. But it was like one of the biggest impacts in my life, that I started opening up again and trusting people again, because that was the one thing that was very difficult for me. It was like literally opening up, especially because I'm live and, I have how many people watching me, and, they want to see the person that is streaming. They want to see, is this person genuine, or is this person just, putting on a mask to, be funny on the internet, or, to try and put on an act. But I don't want to be, that type of person. So after that day, I literally opened up and I literally, for the first time I think that was even the first time I ever cried in VR for that matter. I just burst out of emotion, and that was also when, to give you some clarity, it was when I met people like Kidra, Taku, Chicken Scratch, and a bunch of people that you probably know in our local communities, both from the Tavern with Witty, from the Haven with Aki, and now even from my side with the Mission Makers. So it was the very first time I ever opened up on stream, but also started opening up again as a person. So that was one of the, biggest influences, if I have to be honest with you.
Yeah, so there's okay. Yeah. So I think that we're actually just delved into one of the follow-up questions, and that is, who has been the biggest influence for you?
Biggest influence in terms of
Like,
everything
who is someone that you look up to, like that?
Well, there are a lot of people, but I think one in particular had to be my grandfather. He was a man that looked at the world with bright eyes and an open heart, never to judge people, never to, literally push people away. He always, accepts people for who they are, even for their flaws and for the things that they have done, if it been small, big mistakes. He has taught me to, forgive and forget in one sense, and, take the world as it is, but then also take it with a broad spectrum. That's why I was always been literally been picked on and everything, and the fact that where I'm in this position where I can actually help others, because I know what they're going through. I see sometimes situations with friends and members where I see myself, for example, and I want to help them because no one did that for me back in the day when I was growing up. So I want to do that for them. At least I want to be, I want to lend an ear, lend a shoulder, be a voice for the voiceless. I just want to be that guy, and that's what my grandfather was always. He was always there for me in my troubling times, in my darkest times when I needed someone to actually open up to. And literally because of him, I am the bandit I am today, and I followed his example throughout my streams by literally not judging people and accepting people for who they are, or actually encouraging people to be themselves. Because at the end of the day, we are who we are, flaws and all, doesn't matter. That's what makes us all unique in our own special ways. And that's what I encourage other people on my streams when I always tell them, be true to yourself. Literally, just be yourself. And this follows up with another person that kind of gave me inspiration and that I look up to. Is my good friend Kidra. One word of advice that Kidra has given me throughout my whole streaming career that I've been using and been carrying me, it's literally a motto and a moral for me, is that the right people will come into your life if you make room for them. And now to answer on that question that maybe some people were wondering now, but how do you know who's the right people? It falls with what I just mentioned. The right people will be the ones that accept you for who you are. Not for what you got, not for what you're doing, but for who you truly are. And those are the people that you want to have the closest to you. Those are the ones that that's gonna be accepting you. Those that you can actually even at the end of the day even call your friends. So literally, be just yourself, and the right people will come to you. It's as simple as that. It sounds more vague, but it's a true fact. It's led me up to where I am today, both stream and off stream.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question, and I don't know how you'll be able to answer this, or if you even remember it, but do you remember your first stream?
My very first stream. It was literally. It was during, like I said, during the pandemic. So it was 2020 February. I started streaming, but then again, like I said, I was streaming back then, literally in metaphor lobbies. Funny enough, to give some of your viewers a little bit of a insight, something that most don't even know. Before I started calling myself the Prince of Mischief, I used to call myself the Prince of Murder. Short story, it was during pseudo streams when a couple of times when I joined in. 90% of Pseudo's viewers and friends are Projins, because she's a Projin. And I was the only little Nadachi amongst all these Projins. But then, for some strange reason, every time when I joined them, in Murder I constantly, and I'm not even joking, 90% of the time I got the murder role. So I'm just going around literally stabbing every Projin on my way, and being, like I said, being a little shite in one sense. So it is like literally how it started. I even have a few old clips when I started streaming like that. So I was known back as the Prince of Murder, and that's how it started. And constantly I started doing just Murder 4 lobbies. And because of that, doing Murder 4 lobbies, and it was public lobbies even, I came across a few people along the way that I actually know today as my friends. People that just randomly, coincidentally made through public lobbies in Murder 4. So, funny enough, Murder 4 had a certain charm in one sense to bring people together, even if it means literally stabbing and shooting each other. But yeah, that was literally how it started. That was how my first stream started, was literally jumping into VR chats on Murder 4, on a public lobby, and just being a little menace. That's literally how I started. February 2020, that was my very first stream.
I think that's also going to lead to a follow-up question is there any advice that you would give anyone if they want to do YouTube or Twitch?
Well, I did kind of mention that earlier, but to go more into detail, for anybody that wants to start, like, I'm going to be bold and honest here with everyone. YouTube or content creating, isn't always for everyone, even though when people see it, they want to do it because it looks fun and it looks, very cool and all that stuff. That's fine. That is completely understandable. But it's not always for everyone. But it doesn't mean you necessarily don't have to do the one. There are so many platforms these days that people can do content on. If it's YouTube, Twitch, even TikTok became a very popular thing for a lot of content creators, both furry and non-furry, for virtual reality content creators like myself, or for people that just do the VTubing for that matter. Literally, there are so many platforms. At the end of the day, like I mentioned, it has to be something that you're comfortable with and something that you're going to be happy with. Not just your viewers, but yourself. It has to be something that you're going to be proud of at the end of the day. It's like, I used to do YouTube, but I kind of gave up on it because, it wasn't working out for me. And I thought, because editing, it's fun and all that stuff, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, if I have to be frankly honest. But again, it depends from person to person. Some like it, some people don't like it. For example, why I prefer to do Twitch these days, I like to improvise on the spot. I like to think on my feet. That's why whatever happens on Twitch, it's all legit. It's not planned out ahead, except, if it's like planning out a certain event, like the 96-hour stream that I did. That is a completely different thing. But like anything when it comes to making jokes on stream and stuff like that, that's all natural. That's all, it just comes and goes. So I think that's why I like to do Twitch more, because it's literally just me being myself. There's no me acting out to be funny or me acting to be the little shit. I'm just being myself on this platform, and people actually enjoy the content just for me being myself. So again, it has to be something that you're comfortable with. It has to be something that you're going to be happy with, not just your viewers. It goes both ways. I understand sometimes people look at, the stats and stuff, what makes content these days, what gets the most views and what gets people's attentions. That's completely fine, but do not stray too much to one direction to that. Try to stay on the path where it's going to be something that is you, and that is going to be literally just you, that is not being, copycatting another streamer or, just following another simple trend out there. It has to be you at the end of the day making this, and you are happy and proud with it. For a lot of content creators, or many content creators that start out, make that mistake very early, because again, it has to be something that you're happy with. For example, like I said, I like doing Twitch because it's me being on this platform, no improps, no acting out things, and the fact that I like engaging with my viewers. I love talking with people. I like to socialize with people. I think, hence again, why I'm saying these streams have been so therapeutic for me, because I started opening up with people. I've opening up with not only people on the platform, in VR and stuff like that, but I've been opening up with also my viewers, literally answering questions for them or telling a little bit about myself to them. So again, it has to be something that you're going to be comfortable with and something that you're going to be happy with at the end of the day. For any content creators out there that wants to start out in this. And again, test the waters. If Twitch doesn't work, there's YouTube. If YouTube doesn't work, there's TikTok. If TikTok doesn't work, well, then Twitch. Like literally, find the platform that you want to work with. Again, each has its own benefits and own, how can I put it, unique way of getting, something out there that people might enjoy watching.
Yeah, that is a very good piece of advice. And for me at least, I thought about Twitch, but I just thought about it, and like everyone else was doing it, and it's like, I'm not gonna be like everyone else. TikToks were too short, so and I settled on YouTube.
Well, maybe just to give you a little bit of an extra add-on to that, don't be afraid to feel like, because everybody's doing Twitch, you're not allowed to do Twitch as well. It was the same for me as well, because again, as most people know, 90% most of furry content these days is almost virtual reality. It's mostly, VR chats or Beat Saber for that matter, for example, another one. So that was the same thought that I had, am I doing this because everybody else is doing it? But no. Again, I'm being myself. No one else can be me. I can't be a Key. I can't be Witty. I can't be Vendetta. I'm just being myself. Even though it's on the same platform that everybody else is using, but that doesn't make it me copycatting anybody or, just doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. I'm being myself on this platform and no one else can be. So don't always feel like you're just doing it because everybody else is doing it on this platform. Never get that thought in your head. But I am happy to hear you saying that you want to do YouTube because you want to be different from everybody, and that's perfect. That's completely perfect. But again, you have multiple platforms. Some content creators like myself also use all these platforms to my advantage. For example, I use TikTok for making little, all my short clips, my best clips from my streams as highlight videos. That is just another example. But yeah, but never feel like, you don't need to do this because everybody else is doing this. You are more than welcome to join on any of these platforms again, because again, there isn't a rule that says you're not allowed to because someone else is already doing this. You're more than welcome to join on these platforms as anybody else there. Just because I'm doing VR, Aki's doing VR, Luna's doing VR, doesn't mean you're not allowed to do VR. You're more than welcome to do it. Anybody's more than welcome to do it.
Okay, so this question, I think, to me, has a little bit of meaning because, people might not know about it, but is there like anything that has special meaning to you? Like it can be an item, a certain place.
Anything special meaning? Well, there are a lot, but if I have to say one thing that is a special meaning to me is a sense of freedom. And if I have to go a little bit more in details when I mean a sense of freedom. We live in a world where, like literally people are being judged, people are being labeled, people are being pushed aside for their differences. But yet, we're all unique in our own way, and that's what makes everything so wonderful in one sense. And we all deserve that same equal, how can I put, treatment at the end of the day, a sense of freedom. Not to be judged, not to be labeled, not to be pushed aside. For example, freedom for me is like literally being with my friends, being with family, being time with myself to reflect on all the things around me, because sometimes a person gets so overwhelmed with a lot of things, like if it's work, anxiety, depression, a lot of things. Sometimes it feels like you're being a prisoner in your own mind or in your own body because you don't know what to do or what to think or how to act on certain things. So for me, freedom is a thing that is a value in life for the sake of having that little bit of clarity, just to enjoy the simple things in life. It's spending literally time with friends and family, something that I didn't have for the last 8 years because of my career. And during the pandemic, because of lockdown and all that kind of stuff, I had a bit of freedom, and that gave me a time to a little bit reflect on things I've done and things that I want to do. For example, these streams have changed my life. The more time I spend with you guys and more with my viewers, more with my community, the more I started realizing there are actually far more important things in my life, and one of them being that form of freedom to actually spend time with these people. So, in sense, if I have to add something to that freedom, it's time. Freedom and time is a value that I cherish the most. Because we don't always know what's going to happen the next day. We can't always predict the future. We never know what's going to happen the next day. You know, for all I know, I might be on stream and next moment something happens horribly wrong, and, you know, have I done anything worth my life? But then it comes to the thing of cherish every moment like it's your last. That's why when I jump onto VR, if it's jumping onto stream, I make every second count. If it means literally running to the last bit of battery life on my trackers, my headset, to make time to be with my friends, to be with my community, because I want to spend this time with them. Because again, I cherish these moments. I re-cherish these moments every bit, regardless of how grim things sometimes looks in this world of ours. Even how grim things look in this country of mine. I'm not gonna let that always get the better of me. Even though it does sometimes, but the fact that you guys, the community members, my friends, they're always there to help me as well. And I cherish that moment. Because again, it goes both ways, as I always say. As much as I've been an influence to a lot of people, as I've been told, a lot of people have been an influence to me as well. And I cherish that. And I won't trade that for anything. So hence why that every bit of time, every bit of freedom that I have, I cherish it every second without having a second thought of it at all.
Yeah. And I guess that could lead to a very, in my honest opinion, a very big question. And that is, if you can give anyone, and I mean anyone, doesn't even have to be me, if you can give anyone a piece of advice, what would it be?
Anyone? Jeez. The fact that literally... If I have to throw a little bit of a curveball with your question there, instead of having individual, that's why I always give advice to the majority, to everyone, because again, everybody deserves that same affection and, you know, treatment. And everybody deserves the equal amount of love and affection. So I will not just give one piece of advice to one person. I will give advice to everybody at the best of my ability. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor or anything. I have my own flaws as well, but at least I can give my experience to everybody. I can give my experience, my knowledge from what I know, to give them the tools that they maybe never had. The same as I have done to you, Vendetta. Even if it's small things from, having literally going through a rough time, to actually be able to talk to someone, to open up to someone, to lend an ear, lend a shoulder, to be a voice for someone. I've done that for multiple people, for you, that a lot of people on my streams even that have come to me off stream to talk to me. But then it goes the same way for me. I've gone to other people like Kitra, for example, that I've talked to and opened up to, but a lot of people as well. So in terms of giving one individual person advice, there isn't just one, because again, we're all unique in our own ways. We all have our own flaws that we deal with and, challenge ourselves every day with. So it's not a matter of there's just one individual. We all are in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. If it even means we all swim differently, but we all are in this together. So I never just look at one person. I look to everyone. Again, hence why, if I have to throw a little bit of a concept to your viewers here, hence why I have two different color eyes on my persona. One eye, I look at my point of view, but from the other eye, I look also from their perspective. Because again, I don't always know maybe what they're going through, but I can try to. Sometimes I do know what they're going through because I've been maybe in a similar situation, or maybe know what kind of feelings they're going through. So I never just look at one individual. I look at multiple individuals. As I would say to anybody out there.
So, I'm actually going to throw in at least one more deep question. And that's, during these months of streaming, in your opinion, what's the biggest challenge that you had to face?
The biggest challenge, well, and funny enough, this is actually just perfect, because this is something that I just finally, in one sense, slowly started coming to terms with. One of the biggest things that was a challenge for me through the last few months during my streams were accepting people's support. And I mean in every form there is. As much as I always want to help people, through, difficult times by, like I said, by being a voice for them, or literally lending an ear, or any way I can, it goes the same way for me. I've gone through a bit of a rough time the last few months, and people have seen that, and people have reached out to help me. And I mean in every form way there is. And for example, it's like when people start not only subbing to me, but giving subs or donations, even when I don't even ask for anything in return. People want to help me as much as I want to help them, and normally it's so overwhelming. I just don't understand why. Like, what did I do to deserve this kind of support in the first place? It's like, I'm going to use a good example. When my old VR headset died on me, literally died on stream, and everybody saw how devastated I was, how literally broken I was for the sakes of, what am I going to do? Because this was not only the thing that I used the majority of the time to do my streams on, but this was also the way that I was able to get on VR to come hang out with friends and to, socialize and stuff like that. And for a lot of people that don't know this, I come from South Africa, and things here in South Africa are like super expensive, especially like a headset. It's a luxury. It's not something affordable. So, and I was going through a bit of a financial crisis also during that time, so I wasn't going to be in VR for quite some time. Then a few good friends reached out to me and told me, why not consider doing like a donation bar, a donation goal where people can donate to help you out to get a replacement. But I never want to ask for money from people at the end of the day. I never want to feel like I'm just using people for money. It goes against everything I stand for. Like literally, I don't want to feel like, you know, my streams are just a way of making money out of people. It's the last thing I ever wanted to do. But then 2 good friends came to me and literally had a good talk with me to get through my stubborn head, to convince me, you know, people want to help me. People want to help me, regardless of it, even if it is financially, people want to help me. And I shouldn't reject people's help. Because rejecting them is just being rude to them. It's just rejecting them. It's not fair. As much as I want to help them, they want to do the same. And again, it goes with the thing that I always say, when it goes both ways. It literally goes both ways. As much as I want to help people, they want to help me, and I need to learn that as well. So, accepting people's support in every form, especially when it was like financially, was something that was very difficult for me because, again, I don't want to feel like I'm making money out of it. It's not who I am, nor ever I want to. But people wanted to help me, especially with the last few months, how financially I've been struggling with everything that's been going badly in this country of mine. So accepting that support was one of the biggest challenges, because I never expect to gain anything besides from entertaining people, making people happy, and maybe changing someone's day for the better, even if they were having a very crappy day, just to brighten it up for them. For me, it was the challenge of accepting the same support back in every form, even if it was something that I was completely against. And yet, people have proven me wrong. And the fact that I appreciate it. I appreciate that people want to help me. Even though it was difficult, and it's still difficult to believe and to do this. But I've slowly started opening up to accepting whatever people do to help me. Both if it's financially or even, you know, being able to talk to them more for the sake of, you know, letting my emotions out. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges the last few months, is accepting people's help in the financial way as well. Even though, like I said, I never want to do streaming for financial gain, but at this point, people want to help me, and it has helped so much. It really has helped so much, even if it literally was difficult for me to accept. It really has literally been helping quite a bit, and I'm grateful for it. I am very grateful.
I'm just gonna say one thing, like, one of my challenges that even I'm still facing at the moment is accepting the fact that other people like you want to help me with my stuff. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a love-hate relationship with working with others. Like at first, like, I get scared for working with other people because I don't ever know what that's going to turn out like, but as soon as I'm in that situation, it just, I don't know what happens, it just clicks. But I guess for me, over time, I've accepted that, you know, that people want to help me grow.
Well, that's good. Because, Vendetta, again, people that want to help you are people that like who you are. Again, it goes back to the word of advice that I've literally given everyone, even to you. Just be yourself, and the right people will come to you. Buddy, I didn't come here for the sakes of, you know, it's not just another content collaboration scenario or anything like that. I came here because I want to support you as the way you have supported me. And in fact, I appreciate you. I like you for who you are. You're a fun guy to be around. You're always literally entertaining to be around, both on and off stream. So there is no reason for me to even deny to help you in the first place. And in fact, you want to support my dream to go, you know, maybe one day, maybe going full-time content creator and all that stuff. I want to see you grow as well. Like, literally. You have the potential, even when you don't see it, you do have the potential. As a lot of people have seen as well. Me, Luna, Witty, Key, we all seen it. We have seen it happen with a lot of people. Suddenly some of our friends started doing content creation as well because they got influenced by us. And for all you know, they actually started to flourish as well. Heck, how can I take for not a very good example? My friend Chris. He wanted to do a podcast. He wanted to start streaming, but it never worked out for him. And then when I encouraged him and gave him the same support, look at him now. Literally, he is flourishing. He's actually making friends in the fandom that he never expected to do. It's the same with you. Don't ever underestimate your capabilities. For all you know, you will even surprise yourself of what you're capable of. Trust me when I tell you this.
I think you just crossed into my other questions. And this might be the biggest one. And if you need to think about it, don't worry. Tempest?
Okay, ahead.
What's your ultimate goal of streaming?
Ultimate goal of streaming.
Like, what's the max goal that you want to reach? Like, where do you want to be for being a streamer?
Well, the dream is still the same. And there's a small add-on to that dream as well. Like I told the Key the first time when I ever did a collaboration with him, is I want to see people happy. I want to see people being themselves. I want people to be themselves. I want them to be happy for who they are. To love themselves for who they are and just enjoy life being themselves. Even if that means me going full-time, something that I never thought of doing. Something that I never thought of doing at all in the beginning when I started streaming. But if this means doing a career where I can bring positivity to others, and it makes me happy at the end of the day as well, I'll drop everything to do this full-time. Because it brings joy to me, but it brings joy to others as well. And again, like I said, it comes with that sense of freedom. I'm my own boss, I have my own times, I have my own rules. But that one rule that I always follow and I stick to is never to stray from what I plan out the first time doing these streams. And that's to see others happy, to see others smile. That is the goal. That is the biggest thing that I plan to get out of these streams. Not the financial gain. Yes, it helps, but that's not where it sits for me. It never will sit. It helps me to be here, to do this every day, but the goal is to be there for others when they needed someone more in their lives. If it's me being a little shy on the internet, being goofy, being funny, hanging around with you guys in VR, or playing a game off VR in like Goose Goose Duck, or, just doing something together with people that I care about and bringing more people together. Because one thing at the end of the day, the biggest thing that has brought so much positivity about these streams is bringing people together. I have seen people become friends in the strangest of ways that I never expected, and it wasn't even planned. Again, none of this was ever planned, but Faith has a way of bringing good people together. And that's what I want to stick with. That's what I want to stick with.
So, I think we're going to move a little bit away from the deep stuff, because if we do, this is going to take a little bit, but one thing I wanted to ask you is, how has your perspective of VR changed over the last few years?
Well, to be frank, like literally in the beginning, VR was always just a thing of, it was a simple new platform for, the gaming industry, where it literally just became more like immersive. But I never expect when VR introduced something like a social platform, like for example VR chat, that it would have had such a massive effect on a lot of people's lives, both content creators and non-content creators. And when I'm saying non-content creators, I mean just being a platform where people can come together and socialize, especially like, for example, during the pandemic. This was the platform where everyone jumped on to hang out and actually make friends. So VR has evolved in such a way it actually brought a lot of positivity to people, but not only positivity in the social platform, but also in the creative platform. Literally, people started playing around things like in Unity, making avatars, making worlds and stuff like that. People going and trying something out new that they never expect to actually do. It's the same for me. I never expect to do VR content for that matter. So VR had a major involvement in the last literally the last 2 years now, since the pandemic hit, us and all that stuff. So it had a very positive effect. It literally has, for literally a lot of reasons, both socialized, creativity, and more amounts.
For me, I don't think I paid really too much attention to virtual reality stuff until like I said, when I looked more into the furry fandom, I started to wonder how people actually managed to do this. That's when they told me that they did it through a VR headset, and then for me it was oh my god, I need to try VR.
No, understandable. Completely understandable. Because again, VR back then, the early days of the furry fandom, especially for me, it was physical socialization. Literally going to fur meets and stuff like that to socialize with people. Now I understand maybe for some people it's difficult because some people have social anxiety and stuff like that. In the virtual space you are in one sense more safe, but people need to bear in mind, even though this is VR, it still can affect people mentally in certain ways. But it was a platform for people to express themselves, to be themselves as well, as I would say. So literally, it was another way of people coming out of, in one sense, literally coming out of their comfort zones and socializing and actually trying something new that they never thought they would be able to do in the first place. If it's being literally being in VR, being able, being a little furry character yourself, or going to places and, trying something that you always wanted to do. It has been it's been a very positive platform for a lot of people in the way it has evolved.
Mm-hmm. So, I think we're gonna move on, to the last question. So, is there anyone out there that you want to thank for making this possible for you?
Well, not anybody. A lot of people, to be frankly honest. This wouldn't be possible without the community. It wouldn't be possible without my friends. It wouldn't be possible without people like you, Vanetta, Keitra, Rez, Phasman, Aki, Woody, even Luna. Literally a lot of people that I can thank for making this a reality that I never thought would be possible. Even Pseudo. Actually, I can actually say the biggest thanks in one sense I could say is to Pseudo, because if it wasn't for Pseudo encouraging me to get into streaming onto Twitch, I wouldn't be here today. So thanks to Pseudo, I'm here where I am today. But thanks to Aki, Ryu, and Jinji for the inspiration of where I want to go with my streams, I'm here as well. And then again, thanks to all of you guys in the community members, that I am the person that I am today, and she doing what I do and what I enjoy doing today, both on and off stream.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna do it. So, if you like this video, consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and turning on the bell. And also, I will leave Tempest's Twitch channel in the description. But, I guess, until then, you stay safe, stay awesome, and have a great rest of your day. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.